Welcome, students of Form 3, or even Form 4, or even Form 5, for a good recapitulation of the past 3 years. We're talking about the judiciary, those who apply and administrate the law, hand out sanctions, hand out consequences for those not abiding to the law, those not listening to the law, and we're talking about the broader structure of government. We talked about two other parts of government being the legislature and being the executive. Yeah. And for those watching this from outside of Curacao, I completely abide with all of the regulations of CXC, and this program is also coming from CXC, and I also use this book of CXC. Of course, the examples I use, if I use examples, I use those of Curacao because I'm best known with that country. And we're talking about the scribe, the judiciary, those applying, those interpreting the law within the structure of government. Those other two of the judiciary, and those other two are the legislature and the executive. Yeah. So those are the so-called learning outcomes. We're talking about the different roles of the police, and it would be too much to go through all of them. But let's look at a few key words, and I will also make them appear above in Papiamento language. Proteger in our best Papiamento. Protect. So the function of police is to protect life and property. So if somebody invades your home, somebody wrecks your car, somebody damages you, police should be there to protect your life and property. Prevenir, they should be preventing crime. Just not only arresting people if they committed a crime, they should also prevent it. So we talked about protect and prevent. They also need to investigate crime. Also a very important role of the police. They need to investigate it. And also they need to preserve the peace and maintain order. Conservar paz. Yeah? So we talked about this one, proteger, prevenir, investigar, and preserve the peace. But these are the functions of the police. You also have the one that is in the court of process. So if someone has been arrested and is brought before court, they also have roles. One example of that is issue warrants to ensure court appearance. So in a lot of countries, people get a letter. Also in the European Netherlands, by the way, they get a letter. You have to read that letter, and the letter says that you have to appear before the court. This court comes from the police. They issue the warrant. But if you don't arrive at the court at the given date in the letter, also they execute warrants. So they come pick you up if you decline to show up before court. Yeah, there's also something they do in the court of process. Yeah, so they have a lot of functions of police, and these below are a few of those key words. And you can see them: protect, prevent, investigate, and preserve peace. Those that you can see. The role of the prison system. So the prison system, let's say the prison, if you're locked up, exists to perform a form of punishment. Yeah, I believe that is in Papiamento castigo. Yeah, so punishment. So someone has committed a crime, the prison system needs to punish you. But it is far from the only role. Yeah, because also, besides being a punishment, like you can see here, you've something wrong, you deserve a punishment. Yeah, botahazi un kosmalu. Yeah, you deserve something to be punished. It also acts as a deterrent. And I googled it, to be honest, to find it in Papiamento because I didn't know the word. And in Papiamento, Google said dissociation, in my best Papiamento, and it meaning that it doesn't only act as a punishment for those committing a crime or those who have committed a crime, it also should scare off those people thinking about committing a crime. In Dutch, we would say afschrikking. Yeah? Dissuasion, in my best papiament, deterrent, in my better English. Yeah? A deterrent meaning it should scare those people even thinking about committing a crime or almost getting at the moment of committing a crime to be scared, as it were, scared by the possible consequences it could have. It also provides victims, potential victims, and society protection. Also talked about this one already. Protection from convicted criminals. So if you're being robbed or being beaten up or damaged by that person, you deserve protection from convicted criminals, and it should be faith or confidence in your judicial system. So people should trust that the judges and the police do their work properly. Confidence, trust, faith, confidence in your judicial system, and a sense that justice has been done. So people, victims, but also people who are not involved, like the broader audience, should have a feeling that the person who has committed a crime, that being a sexual crime or being a robbery or acting violently, that the punishment they received was just and sensible and that justice has been done. Not too much, but certainly not too little to that person. They should have a sense that justice has been done, and it also gives people protection for those who have committed a crime. So people should have a sense that justice has been done and people feel protected. That's very important. Now we come to the last part of the role of the prison system. Besides these, there are also other roles. Yeah. A good prison system also provides the possibility of prisoner reform. So when you go to prison and you're being locked up, as you can see in the picture over there, you're being locked up because of a sense of you're being punished. Okay, that makes sense. And you cannot go wherever you want to go, and you have to count the days, like you can see in this picture over here. You're being locked up, you have to sleep in the prison, you have a certain amount of time you spend in the prison, your freedom of movement is very limited, but also that you are being reformed and prepared to go outside again is also a very important part of being punished. We call this prisoner reform. So in prison, for instance, this is one of the last 4 years, these convicts locked up, probably in Coral-Specht, they got the opportunity for the Minister of Justice, Shelton Hato. He decided it would be a good idea to give those people in prison a possibility to get a diploma, and I believe this was a diploma to be a barber, to cut hair. Yeah, so these convicts you see here, you see here also the Minister of Education, Sitri Heidoorn, yeah, and the prisoners that you see here and here, they got a diploma to be able to, that showed that they had skills in cutting hair. Yeah. So this is a very good example of prisoner reform, but because they didn't only went to prison to be locked up, like we could see here, but also in prison they got an opportunity to be prepared for the life outside of prison, so they don't make the same mistakes again. And this is a very good example of prisoner reform. You're not only there to do time, to be locked up, to be limited in your freedom of movement, but they're also working on reforming you, preparing you, changing you to be able to live your life outside without making the same mistakes, as it were. I hope that is clear. This is a really important part of also of prisoner reform. We talked about protection, and we also talked about the sense that justice has been done. Also very important. Yeah, and also as a deterrent. This is also if you use like a cleaning products, there's also a deterrent on it. Don't use it in this manner. Don't drink this cleaning product, well, prison system should also work as a deterrent, and this, for me, impossible to pronounce word, afschrikking in Dutch, meaning that it also should be there to like scare you so much that you don't even think twice about committing that crime again, actually. Exam tip. Make sure you understand issues of citizens' rights and how these are safeguarded or abused through the government, police, and prison systems. Yeah, we're going to talk more about that actually in the coming videos, that citizens have certain rights. So even a person who is prosecuted and is accused of committing a crime, he or she still has certain rights. And even those in prison, they're being locked up, but they have the right to be educated and to be prepared for the outside world. So even if you have committed a crime as a citizen, you still have certain rights that the government and the judicial system and the legislature has to ensure that those people being in prison still have those rights and can use those rights. Which key points did we talk about? We talked about 1 and 2, we talked about 3, and now we talked about 4 and 5, also to be seen here, 4 and 5, those being 4 and 5, the police and courts complement the role of one another. So while the police ensures a warrant that people show up at the courts, they make the police hand out a certain warrant. While the police collects evidence, the court uses that evidence in court to punish or to get a person prosecuted. So the police and court work together, as it were, to get a person convicted or not to get a person convicted because he or she has not committed the crime actually. And 5, the prison system manages the punishment of criminals. That's really important, but also they work on reforming those in prison. And there are those who believe that the prison should work more on reforming persons and less on punishing persons. Because if you punish, but if you don't reform, if you don't give those people a diploma and a good preparation for the world outside of prison, these persons are likely to make the same mistakes in their life again. Yeah, so some people say we have to use the prison system more also to reform people instead of only punishing people. I hope the video was very helpful. And for you that watch the video outside of the island of Curacao, Barbados, Jamaica, Belize, or elsewhere, this could also be helpful for you. And for my students of Form 3, 4, or Form 5, enjoy your morning, afternoon, or your evening. A very well meant goodbye.